Hello and welcome again to the Bring It Out podcast by Mr. JG1. Today's episode of the Bring It Out podcast will be talking about robots in the workplace. So stay tuned in to the Bring It Out podcast. So we're going to go into this and going to start with an article I was reading online. And it says, the workplace is changing. How should Americans deal with it? So that's the question. So we're going to go into this and see how they think Americans should deal with this. And it reads, there's no simple answer, said Stuart Russell, a computer scientist at UC Berkeley and an adjunct professor of neurological surgery at UC San Francisco and the author of a forthcoming book, Human Capability, Artificial Intelligence and the Problem of Control. But in the long run, nearly all current jobs will go away. So we need fairly radical policies changing to prepare for a very different future economy. In his book, Russell writes, one rapidly emerging picture is that of an economy where far fewer people work because work is unnecessary. That's either a very frightening or a tantalizing prospect, depending on very much on whether and how much you in society think people ought to have to work, and how society is going to put a price on human labor. There will be less work in manufacturing, less work in all call centers, less work driving trucks, and more work in healthcare and home care and construction. MIT Technology Review tried to track all the different reports on the effect that automation will have on the workplace. There are a lot of them, and they suggest anywhere from modern displacement to a total workforce overhaul with varying degrees of alarm. One of the reports by McKinsey Global Institute includes a review of how susceptible to automation different jobs might be, and find that hundreds of millions of people worldwide will have to find new jobs to learn new skills. Learning new skills can be more difficult than it sounds. And as CNN has found at car plants such as the one that's closed in Lordstown, Ohio. Wow, so what you guys think of this so far? This is interesting. But let me continue on though. More robots means more inequality. Almost everyone who has thought seriously about this has said that more automation is likely to lead to more inequality. It is indescribable that businesses have gotten more and more productive, but workers' wages have not kept pace. Our analysis showed that most job growth in the United States and other advanced economies will be in occupation currently at high end of the wage distribution. According to McKinsey, some occupations that are currently low wage, such as nursing assistants and teaching assistants, will also increase, while a wide range of middle income occupations will have the largest employment declines. Wow. Interesting stuff here. The likely challenge for the future lies in coping with rising inequality and ensuring significant retraining, especially for low-quality workers. According to a report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, one Democratic presidential candidate, Andrew Yang, the insurgent non-politician, has built his campaign around solving this problem. Yang blames the automation of jobs more than outsourcing to China for the decline of American manufacturing and draws a direct line between that sinking manufacturing sector and the rise of Donald Trump. We need to wake people up, Yang recently told the Atlantic. This is the reality of why Donald Trump is our president today. Because we already blasted away millions of American jobs and people feel like they have lost a path forward. If automation takes the jobs, should all the people get a government paycheck? Yang's answer to the problem is to give everyone in the U.S., regardless of need, an income. He calls it a freedom dividend of $1,000 per month. It would address inequality, both economic and racial. He argues and let people pursue work that adds value to the community. That makes sense. What you guys think about that? He has a good point. It's not a new idea. Congress and President Richard Nixon nearly passed just such a proposal in the early 1970s as part of the war on poverty. But now, after decades of the GOP distancing itself from social programs, the idea of a universal basic income seems about as sci-fi as the new Terminator movie. Yes, they're making another one that's coming out this year. 94% of the new jobs created in the U.S. are gig, temporary or contractor jobs at this point. And we still just pretend it's the 70s, where it's like you're going to work for a company, you're going to get benefits, you're going to be able to retire, even though we're totally evaluated any retirement benefits. But somehow you're going to retire. It's going to work out. Yang said in that Atlanta interview. Young people look up at this and be like, this does not seem to work. And we're like, oh, it's all right. It's not all right. We do have to grow up. He specifically points to truck driving as a profession that is key to the U.S. economy today, but could and may be fully automated in the very near future. Automating trucking will help the environment, save money, and help productivity, he says, but it won't help truck drivers. That's real talk. So what you guys think of this so far? He's telling the truth. So we're going to stop there and just talk about it. I want y'all to comment and like, and let's talk more about this subject as we continue to bring it out podcast on another day. But thank you guys for joining the Bring It Out podcast. And again, y'all have a great night and God bless.